Hello everyone and welcome to today's Starseed Healing Circle. So in today's session we are visiting the Temple of Seti I. I still have to remind myself that this particular temple is 3,000 years old. Okay, so I think let's dive in and see what's coming up for today's session. We're also going to do something which I haven't done in this circle yet, and that is working with the transformation game. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time, and every time I walk past my transformation game set, I go like, oh, when are we doing that? And today the guidance came through. Today is the day. So for those familiar with the transformation game, it is quite a process. A game can take anything from 2 hours to a few days. So depending on how deep you dive into it. So I decided to keep it on one level today. We normally work with physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. And for today's session, I focused only on the physical level with a slight transition into the emotional level. So we will use that as a contemplation while I do the work. Okay, so let's go in. Let's look at our tuning for today. Today we tune in with a light code activation called Dream Flow. So this is all about flowing with our dreams and our ability to download and analyze and work with our dreams. So take a moment to close your eyes, center, take a few deep breaths in and out. And think about what it is that you would like to work with today. What would you like to manifest? What would you like to release? What would you like to clear? What would you like to heal? When you have clarity about that, just gently open your eyes and allow your eyes to rest on the light code. Or perhaps to gently trace the lines so that this code becomes a labyrinth for your eyes. Keep your focus and awareness on what it is that you would like to heal, release, receive, manifest, focus on in your healing today. You can spend as much time here as you need. Okay, let's have a look at what our story is today. So our journey today continues. Let me get my video on. We are in Abydos, and we went to the Temple of Seti I. This is quite a massive temple. It is almost entirely intact, which is different to a lot of the temples that I visited where things were a little bit broken. And this is some of the most exquisite and magnificent art that I've seen in all of the temples in Egypt. So well preserved and maintained and kept. And again, I had to keep reminding myself that this temple is 3,000 years old. So the first court and the second court, these are outdoors. And so it's actually really big plazas that you enter into, and you go up with the steps before you get to this L-shaped temple. So let's have a look inside. In this particular temple, I took 1 million photographs, and I'm not going to subject you to all those millions of photographs, but I'll give you a few. So this is the temple from a distance, and you can actually see there is the first set of stairs going up that you see. This is the first plaza, then you go into the second plaza further up. Okay, so This is outside. This is just as we are entering into the temple. It was an extremely hot day, very, very hot. So you'll always see me with my black and white scarf wherever we go. I would wet this with lots of water, and then I would wrap that around my neck and my head to keep cool. So this is entering into the temple. Coming into the temple, even though it was still hot, it was a lot cooler than outside. It is a really massive temple complex, as I'd mentioned before. So you've got these really, really huge pillars. And as always, in all of these temples, on both images, you can see the ceilings are covered, especially central ones where you would walk, your main central passage, are covered in vultures. And the vultures are there to pick off any negative energy from you or from anybody entering into the space. And usually wherever you get to a doorway, a main doorway, there'll be a symbol for Aten Ra, so the sun disk, the winged sun disk. So as you enter through that doorway, the light shines over you like a beam of light that you have to walk through, and then you walk through this row of vultures where they pick off all the negative, dark, dense energy. So any visit to any of these temples are really, really very deeply clearing, and it does, each of them activate something different for you. This is also the temple where the famous or infamous glyphs are that looks like a helicopter and a spaceship. So you'll see the helicopter in the middle line and the spaceship in the third column or so. This is, conspiracy theorists and ancient alien theorists, they say that it is a helicopter and a spaceship. For me, that really didn't really work. And also standing there looking at it myself, I could see that it was something to do with just the way that the plastering and everything works. So if you, the initial text that was here was set up by Seti I, and it read, he who repulses the 9 enemies of Egypt. And then later on, Ramesses II, he filled it with plaster and he had it recarved to read, he who protects Egypt and overthrows the foreign countries. So Ramesses II was the son of Seti I. So he basically just adjusted the inscriptions, and then the plaster eroded away. And so these days, both inscriptions are partially visible, which is why we can actually have a translation for both of them. But this is one of those sites where if anybody comes to Abydos, this is one of the things they want to come look at. Okay, so going through the temple, really, really magnificent, massive, beautiful. The energy here was incredible. So entering in, we sort of really rushed in. There wasn't really time to take too much photographs. We rushed in and we went into a chamber. Because we were a small group and we were the first group into the temple, we had time here where we could get the temple guardians out of our way, and we started with an opening ceremony. So you'll see there Elizabeth Hartstar in white, busy anointing the group. She was our group elder, and she anointed us with papyrus oil, blue lotus oil, and rose oil. So papyrus on the right wrist and lotus on the left wrist, and rose on the heart chakra. Once she had completed the anointing, we stood in a circle and I opened with a meditation, and we followed that by chanting and toning Ha for about 5 minutes, which was incredible in the space. Now, I don't have a recording of that, but this morning I did spend a bit of time to do a Ha breath meditation, which I recorded, and so we'll use that within our healing session as well. So just an example of some of the artwork that is visible in this temple. Again, 3,000 years old. I'll just have to remind you, 3,000 years, and the colors are still intact on most of these walls. Just really, really magnificent. So also within each of the chambers or rooms, at the end of the room there would be these 2 portals or doorways that leads you through to other dimensions and places. And so they would be used for meditation purposes. So along the way, I found one of these doorways that was probably the most eroded by time. So none of the glyphs remain. In this entire room, actually, none of the glyphs remain. And I was very drawn to this particular room, and I used this doorway as a focus point for my own personal meditation. I was not aware that I was being photographed. There's actually photos by 2 different people. So these were shared with me afterwards. But that was just my personal connection with the yin and the yang, the going in and out of the energies. We had the Wands of Horus cards here with us as well, as with any of the journeys. And so the idea here was to connect those 2 doorways and portals up, and to also connect with the energies of both the in and outgoing energies. Here's a beautiful piece with the resurrection of Osiris. Some of the artwork is damaged, and so usually when there's damage, it's usually over faces and if there's any genitalia showing, and in this case it is Osiris's penis that's been removed forcefully. And I think it was the early Christians coming in. They defaced a lot of the temples. And so we've got Isis on the left and Horus on the right, and they are resurrecting Osiris after he's been chopped up into 14 pieces by Set. So this temple is all about that resurrection and like rebirthing. We also had some private time within the room of Hall of Barges, which is where the boats would be prepared. Some spiritual, or not. What's the word? We also had time in the Hall of Barges where we could spend time to meditate. And this is just a hall where they show the depiction of the barge as you move through time and space, as you take your role through the underworld. Leaving this temple, we went to outside temple, which is actually a subterranean temple that they've uncovered. It's called the Osirium, and I'm sure some of you may have heard of this. This temple is directly connected to the Nile, and so you can actually see there's a tunnel or a tube towards the back that is a canal that connects with the Nile, and the idea is that the water would come into this temple and flood the temple. So this is a temple dedicated to Osiris, and researchers still don't know what the purpose was of actually flooding the entire temple. Taking back to the previous session that we had, remember within the Karnak temple, the Luxor temple, I said that the energy there was really, really strong, and that I could feel how the energy was being generated within that space. And so it's possible that this temple, I mean, if we're looking at it from a energy generation perspective, it could be that this specific temple would have acted like a battery of sorts, having the water with the stone and the pillars and everything placed in a very specific way. It is possible that this could have been some energy generation spot. But this is also the temple where the famous flower of life was discovered. Now, because this is off limits to the public, we could not get into that. So I could only take this from a very, very far distance. I can see if you look at the image on the right. You'll see the staircase going down, and just to the side of the staircase, closest to us, is where that pillar is. You can actually see the staircase going in the back. So there is where the flower of life was discovered. So of course, yeah, many questions about that, but yeah, this is where this one is. So I managed to get it at a distance. Okay, so now let's have a look at the work that we're doing today. So we're looking at the transformation game. For any of you who have not played the transformation game before, this is wow. This is like a healing session or therapy session in a box. Usually done in a group, but it can be done individually. So I use this with clients on a one-on-one basis, where I guide the client through the game, and we use this as a way to actually gain insight and work on a therapeutic basis. But as a group, you would work as a group to be each other's therapists. So usually it's best played with people who have some therapy background, and it sometimes helps to play it with people that you know really well, so that you can use each other as sounding boards to bounce ideas and concepts off. So I had the whole board taken out and set it up for one person. And we, as I mentioned, we're only working on the physical level, which is the red card that you see on the right. So just a little close up on the board. And this is all the information that came through. And I've got it all stacked out in the order in which it came through. So in a moment, I'll take you through all of that. And then what I do after that is I've got the Wands of Horus cards over here. I've got the crystal skull sitting at the bottom. I've got the pie stone sitting on top. Both of these and the Wands of Horus, they've been with me on the entire journey in Egypt. So they've soaked up all of the energies here. And then I've got the healing tools holding space. So while we are busy with our contemplation and our healing work, I'll be doing some work around here. So let's have a look at what is going on over here. And like I said, this is going to be contemplation. So you may want to take a few notes for yourself as we look at this, and see how you can use this as a form of contemplation. So let's have a look. Also, you'll have to see how this is going to tie in with your particular focus, right? So just again, bring yourself back to your main focus that you had when we started the session. What it is that you would like to receive, let go of, heal, and so forth. Okay, let's have a look at the information. So the first thing that came up was an insight, life insight. And the card reads, "Your sense of joy and fun brought a breath of fresh air into a stuffy and all too serious conversation." Now the idea here is to find what this sense of joy and fun is and what conversation it was. You will have to dig around for yourself where this conversation was. Where was there a stuffy and serious conversation recently, or perhaps quite a while ago, where you brought a bit of fun and joy into the conversation to raise the frequency? Just think about that. And perhaps make a note of when and where this was. Now, with this, it says gain 3 awareness tokens. The awareness tokens we draw randomly from the awareness set. And the 3 cards that came up was breath, boundless energy, and naturalness. So naturalness. The idea here is to look at breath, boundless energy, naturalness, and to see how that relates to this story. So if you can find that conversation that was too serious and stuffy, where you raise the frequency by bringing joy and fun into it, pay attention to your breath at that time, your energy, and how natural or at ease you were with the situation. Also, bring your attention and awareness to any other sensations and feelings that you may have had at that time. Make a note of that. We then moved on, and the next card came up, which is a life setback. So setbacks are challenges or things that normally pull you back or pull you down. And the card reads, I'm afraid if I open my heart, I lose touch with my mind. I'm afraid if I open my heart, I'll lose touch with my mind. Take 2 pains. So the pains are the little blue cards with teardrops on them. And we use these. These actually literally hold you back on your journey. So for example, if you have 2 of these pains next to your little marker on the board, if you throw the die and you throw 3, you're only allowed to move 1 step forward. So for each pain that you have, you are held back by 1 point. So not allowing yourself to open to your heart because you're afraid of losing your mind or losing touch with your mind. What does that mean for you? How does it feel, or where are you afraid to actually lose that intellectual side, to really fully embrace the heart space? Okay, now in order to clear pain, we need to trade them for awareness cards. And at this stage, we only had 3 awareness cards: breath, boundless energy, and naturalness. So I thought I'll take a chance and see how far I can move without having to release the pain. That is also something we read into while you play the game. So sometimes we hold on to our pain instead of releasing it as soon as we possibly can. So this is another thing to take note of. Do you hold on to your pain? And do you take a chance and say, well, maybe it'll get better, I'll just hold on to it. Maybe it'll get better, maybe I'll just hold on to it. Or is there something that you can actually release sooner? So we continued the game through the die without releasing the pain. And it rolled onto 6, which meant I could move 4 spots forward, which is fine. And so the next card we got was a life setback. And I was like, ugh, here's more pain coming. But the card read, surprise, surprise, take an insight from your unconscious or life insight deck, and now double the awareness shown. Okay, so in this case, a life setback, something that we thought was bad for us, something that we thought was going to hold us back, some challenge that we thought we were going to struggle with, surprised us, and we actually excelled at it. We really did a lot better, double better than we could ever imagine we could do. So just take note of that as well. Where were you surprised? Where was there something that you worried about? Something that you feared? And then when it happened, it was like, wow, this was amazing. This was incredible. What was I ever afraid of? What was I really fearing? Why? Why spend all of that time worrying? Find that time and space. And so that meant that I had to take a life insight card, which I then took. And then the card read, you accepted the unacceptable, gain 5 awareness tokens, which means we gained 10 awareness tokens. Oh, wait. Somewhere along the way, I think I've got some extra cards. I think I may have missed a card along the way. Oh, yes. There was another one. Sorry, I forgot. There's one step that we get where we had, it was a little chance section where we could throw a coin and to get a yes or a no, and we got a positive, which meant we gained more insight. But I'll go through all the insights and awarenesses in a moment. Okay, so you accepted the unacceptable and gained 5 awareness tokens. So where is it that you accepted the unacceptable in your life? And how does it relate to your goal where you are right now? Okay, so we gained a lot of awareness cards with all of this. We got assertiveness, success, breakthrough, and resilience. Now these are the cards that's left on our scorecard, and those are the important ones. Breath, boundless energy, naturalness, assertiveness, success, breakthrough, and resilience. You need to look at how all of these fit in with your goal for today. The pain I then released, because with Transformation Game you cannot finish a card, you can't move on unless you've got a service card or unless you've got 3 angel cards. And in this case we got no angel cards. And you have to have all your setbacks cleared, so all of your pains need to be cleared. So 2 more words that I exchanged to release the pain was suppleness and dynamism. Suppleness and dynamism. So where did you have to be more flexible? Where did you have to be more dynamic to allow yourself to release what no longer served? We eventually also got our service card, which you can see on the chart, but we had some more awareness cards, obviously from the stash that we received earlier, and they are involvement and strength, growth and diligence, birth and beauty. Involvement, strength, growth, diligence, birth, and beauty. And I think what I'll do is I'll take a proper photo of all of these so that you can have them in front of you when you do your contemplation. And because this would have completed our physical scorecard, I exchanged them for awarenesses for the emotional level. So involvement and strength were exchanged for independence. Growth and diligence were replaced or exchanged for kindness. And birth and beauty was exchanged for patience. It means that if we work through this physical work and move into the emotional side of things, we already have 3 emotional awarenesses to help us along the way. So I'm going to ask you to contemplate these words. Actually, just listening to what I had to say could be contemplation enough. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to continue your contemplation. And I'm going to play a recording of the Ha breath. And if you wanted to, you could actually join along. It'll be really, really nice. And the way to do the Ha breath is to literally take a deep breath in And then as you exhale with a long extended ha. And you do that for as long as you can. So just go ha. I am placing the Wands of Horus cards in their positions here. I just want to quickly also have a look at what those positions are. Let me just show you. Let's go back to, wait. Here. So at the bottom, we have the Earth card. And then on the left is water, top is air, and on the right is fire. So that's our 4 elements. Just above, on either side of the skull, we've got Tyet in orange and Shen in blue. Both of these are protective energies. Tyet is the feminine, passive protection. Shen is the active masculine protection. Then above the skull, we have the Djed pillar, which is the backbone of Osiris. And then if we look right on top, we've got air. And on the left and right side of the Pi stone, we have divine masculine and divine feminine. Divine masculine in gold, divine feminine in silver. Underneath the Pi stone is the Ka, which is it's sort of the yang side. So if we think yin and yang, yang is the active energy, that's the Ka. So it's us reaching up towards the heavens to receive this and to work with us. In the center of the Ankh, we have the Union card. And on the left and the right of Union, we have the Khaibit and Radiance. Khaibit is the shadow. Shadow is sitting on the left and Radiance is sitting on the right. So if we're looking from a shamanic perspective, we've got our 4 elements that came up. So the 4 elements I placed consciously, and then the Tyet and Shen, actually no, I placed all of them consciously and with intention. The ones that were doused are the central columns of the Ka, Union, and the Djed pillar. The rest of them are placed according to shamanic tradition. So the Khaibit shadow is associated with the moon and our shadow side that we need to integrate. Radiance is the light and the bright, so we've taken our darkness and our brightness and we're actually integrating them with the Union card in the center. The backbone of Osiris grounds and anchors, while the Ka reaches up for higher work. Okay, so I'm going to do some work around here. I'm going to use the tools that I have. I'm working with some pendulums, and I'm going to ask you to contemplate and move into your silence, or to join in with the Ha breath. And the Ha breath is an extremely powerful healing technique that you can do for yourself at any point. It opens up the throat center, and as it opens up the throat center, it allows you to express all of your other chakras. It expresses your physicality, it expresses your creativity, it expresses your boundaries and power, it expresses your love and compassion, it expresses your vision and insight, it expresses your spirituality and your connection to the all that is. So working with the Ha breath is extremely powerful. A lot of people would say chant Om, but for me, Om is more crown and third chakra related. And for me, one of the most important chakras that we have is the throat chakra. If that one's closed, everything else is closed. So the Ha breath is a really powerful way to open up that throat center. So take your notes that you've made, or maybe pause or rewind and just make some notes around any insights that you gain from the awareness cards that came up and from all of that. And then I will also put up an image of these for us. Okay, so here's a close-up of those words. So perhaps if you could just spend a bit of time to make some notes or to tune into what it is that you are working with. So I'll keep this one up while we are doing the heart breath and the healing work. Okay. Coming back into this time and space. Becoming aware of your bodies. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll see you in our next session. Take care.